Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Dining In. Today, we've got a very special menu created by Hamish, one of the talented chefs in the kitchen. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about the menu this week?
Yeah, absolutely. So the menu and the recipes basically came from Hamish grandfather that came to Australia around the 80s, and the dishes are basically his interpretation and the old recipes. So we're gonna have a fantastic Indian inspired menu. Expect a lot of vibrancy of flavors, of spices, of colors. It's really fantastic menu. And for the first pairing, thanks to Martin, we had a beautiful Gruner Veltliner to go with the first pairing, and we are in Austria. So this is Morich 2018 Gruner Veltliner. We're gonna pair that with the pan rolls and Morich. It's really fantastic. It's come from Bergling, so east of Austria, and there is a fantastic tension on this wine. To make this wine in a way that it's typical, you have to send your wine to a board of people which they examine the wine and they see if it fits to the area. And in this case, the winemaker just wanted to do his own style. So technically, what he wrote on the label is that it's another serious wine from the same gorgeous place. So expect that gorgeous wine as well in the glass. How do you perceive this wine, Xavier? What do you think?
I think it's really unique if you're talking about if you're putting this wine on the lineup of other wines without thinking of Gruner Veltliner, you will probably think of very serious Chablis, a very serious aromatic variety with a lot of minerality. We were actually beginning of the week we were talking about the wine pairing, and Martin was like, "Oh, it would be so good to have a Gruner Veltliner." I said, "Martin, we don't do Gruner Veltliner in Mornington." And he's like, "No, not yet, but we are about to plant some vineyard of Gruner Veltliner." Just kidding. But anyway, no. So Martin, maybe you want to talk about your love of Gruner Veltliner with the food.
Well, absolutely. And I think my whole view on Gruner Veltliner was transformed from a visit I did to one of our customers in London. Actually, it was an Austrian sommelier working in a Michelin star Indian restaurant. And I just honestly, it was completely blew my mind. I think by the end of the lunch, there was 40 different bottles that had been opened, showing just how broad and how different the styles can be, and how versatile it can be, particularly with that sort of spicier food and with Indian cuisine. And I was just it was obviously the first thing I thought of. It's not an obvious thing to think of an Austrian variety, sitting there with a maybe an Indian dish, but I think it's a very interesting variety. Again, it can be quite neutral in terms of its flavor, but again, it's very textural. But you can see here it's got some lovely richness and body to it, which I suppose is the comment around maybe being confused with a Chablis or something. It's got more body than you would think from a Gruner, but it's still got that lovely drive and minerality underneath.
More classic Gruner Veltliner, you'll find more of that greenness, more of these spices, and it's very hallmark classic Gruner, quite fresh, vibrant, almost like Riesling. But here there is a little bit more work that has been done with the skin and in the winery to have a little bit more richness, a bit more opulence, but not like cloying. Again, it's more to bring more dimension to the wine and to give it a little bit more sort of qualities, I would say, and texture, which is perfect with this first dish. The second dish, we are going in the south. We're going to Portugal, in one of the regions that was classified as a World UNESCO Heritage in 2015. We're in Portugal in the Douro Valley, and we are with Pedro Frei. Pedro Frei is a winemaker that spent all his life in the region, and he has seen many things happening, but his point he wanted to do a little bit of a different thing again, and showcasing the beauty of the terroir and the place by doing a still wine. So it's not something that you see every day. It's still wine from the Douro Valley. And what do you think, guys?
You know what? I think I was lucky enough to go to the Douro Valley in what was that? 2014, I think, 2015, and spend some time there. And it really, I mean, first of all, it's obviously a beautiful area, quite amazing. The terraces that must have taken hundreds of years to have built, and the amount of work to actually care for the vines and to in that area is extraordinary. But it's what I really loved from that trip was just seeing the white still wines. And I thought the white still wines from the Douro Valley were fantastic and really, really good and really versatile.
And this one is like not far away from the actual river itself, you know, and you know the granite that this wine, the vineyard sits on, you know, it's almost like coming through the glass. And when you're having that next to the fried paneer cheese and the spinach and the nasturtium, all that greenness, you know, it's really highlighted.
It's got that lovely savoury, almost herbal edge to the wine, doesn't it? And so you can just see how that would just sing with the cheese and just pick up some of the sort of some of those really herbal notes. Very good.
It's a very good wine, and again, it's not something that you'll find every day in a bottle shops or in restaurants. And we wanted to bring you a little bit of that. That's what's happening in the world nowadays, especially in Portugal, where there's been a massive decrease on fortified wine production, a bit like what happened in Australia. And then instead, people are making more and more still dry wines. And one of the beauty of the southern part of Europe, in my opinion, are the whites. The whites, they got so much acidity, so much saltiness. You know, there's so many things happening on the wines.
And also just these indigenous varieties.
Gouveio, Sacial, to name a few.
Yeah, exactly.
Malvasia.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Amazing.
Great choice.
So that's for the second course. The third course, we're gonna talk Italiano.
So we are going to the south,
into Sicily,
Morocco. We have a variety called Grillo. So we are in the south in Sicily. It's a native variety to Sicily island in the south of Italy. We are this time in Marsala, so we are in the west of Sicily, and you can definitely get all that ocean influence on the vineyards. You definitely can get that sun kiss on the vineyards, on the grapes as well, and there is a bit more skin contact on this wine, so expect a bit more texture, a bit more. We wanted to push the envelope a bit and bring something a bit different. And then on the palate, for me, it's really fresh, it's really bright. You get that orangey quality, and to match that with the yellow dal and the spiciness, it's really hand by hand. What do you think, Martin?
Well, I love exactly what you said, that spiciness and that little bit of phenolic influence into the wine. I think that adds. It's really nice. It's got a sort of a richness there, but it's grounded in that sort of that spicy, phenolic sort of texture, which I think is just great for that dish as well. A nice little cut through. Again, it's got that sort of combination of some richness, but also that lovely textural drive.
It's almost got almost that saffron. Like that spices, and we're talking about
it's sort of it actually smells old world. It's got it's just got a lovely exotic character to it, which I really like. It's like something that you a little bit old fashioned almost.
Sometimes it's on the older spot that we do the best jam. I love this producer because this is the team at Nino Baracco focusing on showcasing the intricacies of their territory, which is Marsala, very classical, traditionalist place in Sicily, but also they work mostly with indigenous variety, and Grillo is one of them. Love Grillo for all the opportunities that they give you when pairing with food. For the next one, it's going to be something that you're going to love, and we love the classic pairing here, isn't it?
It is.
What have we got?
We got the master, Dr. Lucent. So a wonderful wine from the Moselle. Very special vineyard as well, which Xavier, maybe you can tell a little bit more about. But this is one of my favourite producers in in Germany, I think anyone that loves a good Moselle Riesling is would love Dr. Lewison. Fantastic.
He's my GP, by the way.
I wish he was.
It's the name of the vineyard. It's called Velaine Sonnenur, and basically it's coming from the village of Velaine, and it's has one of the steepest slope in Moselle. Some places are going up to 70% radiant, so you can feel that in the vineyard it's all hand worked. So they're picking the fruit by hand. No tractor, unfortunately. It's quite, but it gets all the sun that you need in that cool climate. It's very, very cool. You got the river coming through, which allows the temperature to get a little bit more moderation and reflect the sun. So you basically have a full ripeness. It is a level of sweetness called Spatlese, which is, I would say, off dry, which will allows a little bit of softness. Maybe Noah loves to talk about that pairing between spices and Riesling, because
this is the probably the spiciest hottest dish, because the curry.
Absolutely.
And so that little bit of sugar really will soften out that and give a little bit of relief, and also
100%. I mean, it's almost like you have water and you have fire, and you're just like balancing the two. No, it's fantastic, and I think Riesling is really works amazingly with Asian cuisine, but also Indian dishes. It's really made for that.
Absolutely, and this is basically the flagship vineyard, isn't it? I mean, this is their top cuvee.
Yeah, it's facing the river on a south aspect, so the vineyard literally like absorbing the sun all the way from the east to the west, and really get that nice brightness to the
beautiful
wine.
spotlight.
And if you a little thing here, because we all know that German labels are very, very hard to understand. I'll give you one tip. If in a bottle shop you find that little eagle there, which is called VDP, and you have 6 little grapes inside the eagle, you need to buy them, because basically it's the name of a group of winemaker called the Verband Deutscher Prädikatsweingutter, which have decided to come together and have even stringent viticultural and winemaking practices to give our customer and give everyone else in the market a perfect product coming from very well managed vineyard, isn't it? Organically farmed, no sprays, using low sulfur, a minimum sulfur additions, and really working on the typicity of the terroir. And I mean, like, you can smell it from here, the Riesling, isn't it?
So
You can. It's got that almost that very floral,
Grapey.
It's grapey, but it's also got that sort of musk, almost that musk character, hasn't it? And I think that with the that little bit of sweetness is again just a great match. So well done. It's good.
Next time, take the plane.
yeah,
Get the
I'm ready
plane.
when you are.
We're back. We're going back to Italy.
Yes, we are. We talking about pushing the envelope. We are going to Sicily. This time we have a beautiful wine from Francone Listen. So we are in Sicily. The grape variety is Nerello Mascalese. It's 2019 vintage. Basically here the vineyard in the foothills of the volcano. So the soils are volcanic soils.
This is Mount Etna.
Mount Etna, yes, correct. And you get that expression of the volcanic earthiness comes through the glass. And the soils are very fertile, so you get a lot of beautiful lifted quality as well. And with the tandoori chicken that's been burned on the coals and the smokiness, to have that wine is really fantastic.
Yeah.
We can't have a lot of this wine around. There is not much of a quantity, and we don't get a lot of allocation of this wine every year, but we're very happy to share it with our guests. And it's really fantastic. It's a light-ish red, but it definitely has the texture, and it has the intensity and beautiful high acidity.
Well, and you're always a believer in matching the color, yeah.
So tandoori chicken, have you seen that? It's kind of like orange, like almost like the the clay, you will find like the red clay of the diesel, like orange, very bright, and then you got that smokiness. I was actually in the morning in front of the fire pit with Amish and the team. They were cooking those chicken. They were looks delicious, and I'm like, look at that! It's charred, it's spicy, and nothing better than a volcanic wine. Wine on the palate, isn't it? It's like so much things happening, so many tannin structure, and it's all there. And it's, I mean,
it does.
You liked it, huh? It's not Grenadian, huh?
I did. It's really no. I really do. I really like it a lot. It's got a lovely and dry. It's got a lot of interesting flavour. You know, really earthy and not so much spice, but it's just sort of like you almost can taste the ash. You know, not in a bad way, but you know those volcanic soils. You know, very mineral, very sort of very savoury. And interesting. I mean, here's a part of the world that's been growing vines for millennia, and really interesting to see this as a sort of a different take on wines that are grown in that area.
And look, the grape variety is called Nerello Mascalese, which is a very, very, very classic grape variety from the region. You might have never heard of this, but in Italy and in Sicily and in Mount Etna, these are the most common grape variety grown. So again, it's new for us and in Australia, very old for the people over there. And it's important for us as a sommelier to bring you that sense of discovery, especially with the sort of wines and when it comes to Indian food, where imagination is all you have, basically.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Fantastic.
And for the next course, for the last one, what do we have, Martin? Do you know the Thompson family?
I don't know them personally, but you know the Crawford River winery has been doing an outstanding job. One of the best Riesling producers in Australia and certainly in Victoria, and this is a special selection. Tell us a little bit about it. The Serendipitous.
So Serendipitous is basically a very rare selection of grapes from a little parcel in their vineyard, which they've decided to let it to ripen at its optimum balance between richness, flavor, and harmony. And this is a sort of inspired by the German Riesling classification called the Auslese, so where it's selected late harvest peak, isn't it?
Fantastic. I mean, every Riesling, when you balance the high acidity with a bit of sugar that gives also the perception of texture, it just works fantastically, and it's not easy to do. I mean, obviously, Martin, with making this Riesling this year, just finding the right balance and when to pick, it's not an easy task.
No, but again, I think this is a really good match with that yogurt panna cotta.
Yeah.
It's you've got that sort of creaminess, and which this helps sort of like cut through, but not in an aggressive way. It's quite soft, and so I think it's quite gentle and matches really the texture of the panna cotta. But also it has that sort of lovely, almost slight, obviously citrus and some other sort of almost like slightly herbal notes that I think also go well. But finally, I think just having that slightly, that's a little bit of sugar, it really matches that, that moderate sort of sugar of the panna cotta. So it's not like going to absolutely drive through and really almost lose the panna cotta and the flavors of that dish. And it's also going to, I think it's going to really help elevate it. I think that's a good choice.
Thank you, Martin.
To put with that dish. I think it's great.
Do you think that you'll find again in the palate a little bit of that sort of yogurty, sour cream character?
Yeah, you got that sort of a little bit of a sour and sort of a creaminess to the texture of the wine. Not so much, I don't think, cream itself, but just it's got a creamy texture. Yeah. And I think that sort of is really, and with that little bit of sweetness, is going to be perfect. It'll really cut through. It'll be great seeing it actually.
So I was always wondering if Martin was Italian, because always talks with his hand.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can pick that habit. It's pretty good. Thank you very much for joining us today. We had a lot of fun putting the list together for you. And thank you, Martin and Noah, for the support and the help. Thank you to the guys in the kitchen for creating such a marvelous experience for you at home. And thank you for your support. And thank you for trusting us. Thank you.
Enjoy your meal.
See you later.